My boyfriend suddenly regained his memory. He remembered he had a long-time crush, his white moonlight. He couldn't wait to break up with me. Our 2-year relationship was just like that. Gone. He warned me, forget this romance, as if we never met. I breathed a sigh of relief. Coincidentally, the system notified me yesterday, host, your mission is complete. Memory from the mission period will be erased shortly. On our 2nd anniversary, Bowen was in a car accident and fell into a coma. I stayed by his side for 8 hours, only to be told in the end, anything that happened during my amnesia was not my subjective intention. So these 2 years of romance naturally don't count. He regained his memory and wants to break up with me. I'm not really surprised by this ending, after all. From the very beginning, we weren't honest with each other. Back then, he was an amnesiac, heartbroken and with both legs severed. I was a redeemer on a mission, there for him, the system told me. The goal is to get him back on his feet, not just physically, but mentally as well. He needs to regain his spirit. His current state is too negative, and is not cooperating with treatment. A person who can't remember the past and can't see the future is truly isolated and lifeless. To make the mission progress visible, the system displays his affection level toward me, saying that love can give a person the courage to start anew. With love in your heart, you can overcome any hardship. As a numerical reference, my task is only considered complete when his affection value for me reaches 100. I spent 2 years pulling him out of the abyss, supporting him as he stood up again. The affection value, which initially progressed with difficulty, later skyrocketed. It finally stopped at 99, never rose again. I was feeling restless, unable to pinpoint the reason, until the system couldn't stand it anymore and reminded me, love requires sincerity. It must be exchanged with genuine hearts. So, I sat alone on the balcony all night, deciding to let go of my initial intention to complete the task and gamble once with my true heart. Finally, on our 2nd anniversary, Bowen drove me to our date, only to crash into a truck that ran a red light. At the brink of life and death, he desperately turned the steering wheel toward me, trying to leave the chance to survive for me. At this moment, the system broadcast in real time, affection progress. 100%, host, your mission is complete. Fortunately, the 2 cars only sideswiped each other with a minor collision, and no one was injured, but Bowen passed out due to the deployed airbag. I sat by his hospital bed from night until dawn, watching his affection for me drop from 100 to 0. It then rose and fell, fluctuating up and down, until finally the progress bar disappeared. At the break of dawn, he opened his eyes and said to me, Renee, let's break up. From the beginning until now, every savior, after completing their task, has faced 2 possible outcomes. 1, to stay with the person they saved forever. 2nd, to forget the task target amidst the sea of people. Bowen frowned slightly, saying to me word by word, forget this romance, as if we never met. This was the ending he chose for us. I quietly watched him, summoning the system. Now Bowen's affection level for me, will it still change? The system remained silent for a few seconds before telling me, the task is complete, the outcome is set. From now on, affection levels will no longer be displayed. Indeed, without the system, the love and hatred between people have no visible data to begin with. Moreover, at this moment, Bowen's every glance and action, even without a visible progress bar, tells me with utmost clarity, the one he loves now is not me, but it was his white moonlight, Patricia. They were childhood sweethearts. Long before meeting Bowen, the system had already told me about his past with Patricia. It's still a cliché story of unrequited love. Patricia fell in love with the newcomer and decided to go abroad with him. Bowen chased after them in his car, got into an accident in the heavy rain, lost his memory, and lost both his legs, sinking into despair ever since. A mutual friend couldn't stand it anymore and called Patricia. Across the ocean, she only said 3 things, forgetting me is just as well. So he won't keep pestering endlessly, we just grew up together, that's all. Helping him recover shouldn't be my obligation. Please don't disturb me anymore, my boyfriend won't be happy. Bowen felt neither joy nor sorrow about this. In fact, he grew extremely annoyed as his friends repeatedly brought up Patricia and emphasized his affection for her. Their constant reminders also made Bowen aware that, unlike everyone else who shared past memories, he remembered nothing. From then on, every time they gathered, everyone he met was familiar, yet everyone felt like a stranger. He was clearly part of the scene, yet he felt like an outsider, surrounded by liveliness. His heart remained hollow and lonely. This is probably why I was able to get close to him so easily. We didn't share a past to begin with, which in a way made us equals. I smiled and told him, our memories will start from now. Countless gazes and touches formed a Bowen who loved me. Bowen, but it's a shame when all his past memories resurface. Our 2 years ultimately couldn't compare to their 20. What's worse, Patricia returned to her home country just a few days ago, after a fight with her boyfriend that led to a breakup. She secretly flew back and showed up in front of the still amnesiac Bowen in the pouring rain, crying pitifully, "I have nowhere else to go, Bowen." Faced with the unexpected visitor, Bowen was already irritated. He almost ruthlessly exposed her. Go home, stay at a hotel, or even under the overpass. Even if you really have nowhere to go, this is not the place for you to stay. Patricia staggered, looking at him in disbelief. You've never spoken to me like this before. Well, I'm sorry about that, Bowen scoffed. I've forgotten how I used to speak to you. I couldn't bear to see her get drenched in the rain any longer, so I handed her an umbrella, but she brushed it aside, looking at Bowen with a deeply hurt expression. Even if you don't remember, Bowen, someone must have told you about our past 20 years. Aren't you afraid you'll regret treating me like this once you regain your memories? Or are you deliberately getting back at me, because I went abroad back then? So now you've just found a random girlfriend to get even? Is that it? Then she looked at me again and sneered with a mocking laugh. Do you know what this kind of behavior of yours is called? Taking advantage of someone's vulnerability. I don't know if this counts as taking advantage of his vulnerability, slowly winning him over while Bowen forgets his love for her. However, there is one thing Patricia wasn't wrong about. The amnesiac Bowen regretted it, unexpectedly. When Patricia learned he was in the hospital, she took the initiative to visit. Faced with Bowen's soft question, "Aren't you angry with me?" she let out a delicate flimpage and said angrily, "We'll settle the matter of you making me angry after you're discharged from the hospital. How could I not come when you've been in a car accident?" The hospital room quickly filled with people, and I became the extra one. Their passionate conversations about the past were chapters of a life I had never been part of. No matter how the topic shifted, it always circled back to Bowen and Patricia, how they attended school together, skipped classes together, how Bowen fought for her and took the punishment in her place. Suddenly, I felt utterly bored and turned to leave. Patricia, however, suddenly called out to me and warmly invited, "Miss Renee, we're going to celebrate Bowen's new lease on life. Would you like to join us?" I was about to decline when Bowen spoke before I could. "No need, we've already broken up. I'll make it clear here today, please don't bring it up again in the future." The ward fell silent for a few seconds, and Patricia looked surprised. "I see, alright then, but I still have to kindly remind you, Miss Renee, don't do such things in the future, or in the end, the one who gets hurt will only be you." She glanced reproachfully at Bowen and said to me, "Especially when you encounter a big bad guy like Bowen, you should stay far away." I nodded gently with a soft smile. "I will." Bowen frowned, and someone teased with a laugh, TSK, Bowen is a big bad guy. So Patricia, how did you manage to grow up with him?" Her eyes sparkled as she spoke in a clear, crisp voice. "I'm not afraid of him. I'm the one who specializes in dealing with such villains." Everyone burst into laughter and playful chaos. Only after stepping out of the hospital did I feel like I could breathe freely again. Bending over and pressing hard on my chest, I asked the system, "How much longer?" The moment the system announced I had completed the mission yesterday, it also notified me, "Memory from the mission period will be erased shortly." This procedure is set to activate by default upon mission completion, but it can be terminated at any time once the outcome is determined. It serves as a kind of physical and mental protection mechanism for redeemers. After all, a single mission is no less than an immersive life simulation. Many redeemers suffer severe physical and mental trauma due to the second ending, making it impossible for them to continue their original lives. To give one's true heart is to hand the other the knife to hurt oneself. Now that knife is glaringly plunged into my heart. It hurts. The system quickly replied to me, integrating data during the task. "Please wait." I couldn't wait any longer. The unbearable pain was almost driving me to lose control of my emotions, and I urgently needed to do something to distract myself. The phone rang just in time, and the person on the other end mentioned the name of a restaurant, saying I had left something there. Without thinking too much, I hurried over. It was only after arriving that the restaurant manager told me it was Bowen's item, with my number listed as the emergency contact. I was about to say that I no longer held that status when the elevator doors opened, and I suddenly froze in place. Vast fields of tulips flood the view, with soft lights twinkling among them, stretching all the way to the hall at the end of the corridor, as if I had stumbled into a romantic sea of flowers. The restaurant manager handed me an exquisite velvet box from the trolley, saying with a warm smile, "Mr. Chi reserved the entire floor of the restaurant yesterday, but he never showed up. And we couldn't reach him. This is something he left behind." The scene before me stung my eyes, making them well up. I didn't need to look to know what was inside the velvet box. Such a scene, such an atmosphere, and yesterday's second anniversary, it's hard not to guess. This is a proposal scene. Bowen was supposed to propose yesterday. I recall his slightly nervous look in the car, and the tone of anticipation and joy in his voice when I asked about the restaurant for our date. A secret loses its surprise if revealed too early, so this was the secret he could hardly keep hidden. I never expected it to be uncovered in this way. I stood there in a daze, suddenly hearing a flurry of footsteps from around the corridor corner, along with excited voices. I instantly recognized it as Bowen's friend. Is this what you call a double blessing? Regain your memory, regain your single status. What do you mean by regain your single status? Patricia said with slight dissatisfaction. If you've lost your memory, then it doesn't count as having been together. It was just fooling around. You guys really are something. Not keeping a proper eye on things when I'm not around. Any woman can just get close to Bowen. Bowen's friends really don't think much of me, always feeling like I'm an outsider intruding into their circle. It's just that, since Bowen likes me enough and they see me gradually making him better, they can't really say much. The relationship always maintained a delicate balance. Patricia's return once caused a fluctuation in that balance. Bowen didn't take her in during the heavy rain, and that night he received a call from a friend, whose voice was laced with anger. It's pouring rain, and you didn't even let her in. Bowen, after all, you grew up together. You just lost your memory and don't remember how much you used to like her. Aren't you afraid you'll regret this later? Everyone was certain he would regret it. Bowen let out a scoff over the phone. How many times do I have to say the only person I like is Renee? You keep bringing up Patricia over and over. Is it that I like her? Or is it that you like her but don't dare say it, using me as an excuse? The other end suddenly fell silent. Bowen threw his phone aside and hugged me, softening his voice. So annoying. Why does everyone say I like her? Is liking something hidden in memories? I smiled faintly and hugged back, then after a moment of thought, said, liking someone is something you keep in your heart. But now, the affection in his heart clearly no longer belonged to me. At the corner of the hallway, Patricia's voice continued, as she pretended to be angry and said to Bowen, better think of a way to make it up to me. I'm still angry. Bowen sounded weak, perhaps because he had just woken up and left the hospital. What kind of compensation do you want? He suddenly stopped because he saw me, and the elaborately arranged romantic proposal scene behind me. The manager quickly stepped forward to explain, thinking at first that Bowen had brought friends along for the proposal, and congratulated him with a smile. Until he noticed everyone's expressions were not quite right, he gradually fell silent. Someone couldn't help but ask, just joking. Would you propose? Bowen looked stern, watching me approach step by step, then stuffed the velvet box into his hand, saying softly, since you're here, I'll take my leave. Here's your thing back. Wait a moment. He suddenly spoke, lowering his gaze to look at me. If we ever meet again, just act like strangers. I didn't look back. Okay. The elevator doors opened and slowly closed. The last scene being Patricia taking the ring from his hand to play with it, saying unhappily to the manager, hurry up and get rid of these flowers. The elevator descended directly with a ding sound. System notification. Data integration complete. Initiating erasure of the host's mission period memories and all traces of existence. Initiating the emotional module prior to the host's task unsealing. The reward for this mission, the recovery card, has been issued. Your fiancé is about to awaken. It is often said that to forget someone, one must first forget the feelings they held for them. I sense something within my heart slowly peeling away, while another intense and profound emotion is gradually emerging, with an unstoppable momentum. It is the emotion belonging to my fiancé. His name is Edgar, and he has been lying unconscious in the hospital for 2 years. The doctor said his chance of waking up was less than 1%. At that time, there were only half a month left until our wedding. No one told me how to truly let go. At the most desperate moment, the system appeared. It said that this world has a protagonist. It was a male lead redemption system, unable to directly interfere with the male lead's life, but it could choose side characters as task performers to influence him. Both Edgar and I are side characters, nameless and insignificant, at this moment. The second male lead of this world is in crisis, and I have been chosen as the redemption tasker. Upon completion, I will receive the corresponding reward. Patricia said Bowen is a big bad guy. Actually, I'm not a good person either. Initially, the purpose of approaching Bowen was to save Edgar. Later, when my affection for him stagnated, in order to offer my true heart, I even had the system assist by temporarily sealing away my feelings for Edgar. This was actually risky. If it succeeded, then it was possible that after falling in love with Bowen, I might not choose to unseal those feelings. Edgar would probably hate me for changing my heart when he wakes up. If it fails, Edgar will die. I thought all night about whether I could accept Edgar hating me, or accept his death. In the end, I decided to take the gamble. I placed my sincerity and choice in Bowen's hands. loving him wholeheartedly without reservation. As long as we don't end up together after completing the task, the system will automatically initiate the next procedure. I might be reluctant to break up, but Bowen might not be, because of the presence of Patricia. It turns out, I bet correctly, the system is very fast. And within just a few seconds, it tells me, all memories of the host's existence have been erased from the minds of everyone around Bowen. I ask it, what about Bowen? The system cannot directly interfere with the male lead's second memory. It cannot be erased, but he did say he wanted to be strangers. So in a way, it's as if it's been erased. Reflecting on these 2 years with him, at first it was to coax him into cooperating with the treatment, but later, because I liked him. I agreed to many of his requests. This is the last one. Standing in place, I suddenly realized that the memories in my mind were beginning to blur, shatter, and dissipate. Finally, I heard the system announcement, host's emotions erased, dormitory memories erased, special note, traces related to the host. This data is extensive and will take some time to erase. A sudden sense of relief washed over me, and I blinked lightly. The phone rang. It was a call from the hospital. And the voice on the other end sounded cheerful. "Ms. Your fiancé has woken up." When I arrived at the hospital, the doctor had just finished a full-body examination of Edgar, and the results showed that he had fully recovered. The ward was quiet, with only Edgar left inside, under the soft, warm glow of the fluorescent light. He looked as handsome as ever, like a lush tree in a summer breeze, handsome and beautiful. I stood at the door, suddenly hesitant to enter, afraid it was just a dream. After all, I had dreamed of such a scene countless times before, only to wake and find it was false. Only the cold tears on my face were real. But this time was different. In the hospital bed, Edgar was rubbing the engagement ring on his finger. He turned his head and saw me, as if guessing something, and gave a radiant smile. "Not a dream, my dear." Before being discharged, the doctor thoughtfully advised, "Although you've fully recovered, since you were in a coma for so long, you still need to pay attention to rest and rehabilitation." Edgar didn't seem to mind, though. Every time I brought it up, he would scoop me up and give me a gentle lift. "You know better than anyone how well I've recovered." What he cared more about was the wedding, the one that had been delayed for 2 years. We had to go through all the preparations again, writing invitations, taking wedding photos, booking the venue. After spending some time taking over the work that had been abruptly interrupted 2 years ago and readjusting to my current life, Edgar couldn't wait another minute and dragged me to the wedding dress shop. The pure white, soft wedding dress slipped on, and the mirror reflected my slender, graceful figure and face. The bridal consultant smiled warmly as she introduced it, offering professional praise. "Miss Renee, this wedding dress is designed by the renowned Milanese designer Marco Bellini. Made of moonbeam satin with a ripple effect skirt, it shimmers under the light with a blend of pearl and silver foil, symbolizing the flow of the galaxy and the eternity of love. Elegant, soft, simple, and clean, it perfectly matches your temperament, as if it were custom-made just for you." I smiled faintly and turned to go find Edgar. The staff member promptly drew aside the floor-length gauze curtain, revealing a man seated on the black sofa opposite. His expression was stern, with deep-set eyes and striking features. "It's not Edgar." Standing beside him was a woman also in a wedding dress, who was complaining in a coquettish yet dissatisfied tone. "Bowen, do I look beautiful in this wedding dress? And your outfit, could you at least put some effort into it? It's our wedding, after all." The man called Bowen replied calmly, "Patricia, what kind of our wedding is this when it's just a setup to force him to object?" A strange conversation. I didn't pay it much mind. I glanced around and just happened to see Edgar appear from the other side, now wearing a suit, handsome and radiant, beaming with joy. He strode over, wrapped his arm around my waist, leaned down to nuzzle my ear, and whispered tenderly, "Darling, you're so beautiful. Your waist seems slimmer." My cheeks suddenly felt hot, and I thought he was being a bit improper, so I reached back to pinch his waist. But when I looked up, I saw in the scattered mirrors the reflection of the man on the sofa behind me, Bowen. He was watching me with a deep gaze. Edgar clearly noticed it too, and he shot a cold glance over. Patricia was the first to question, "You already promised me, you're not going to back out, are you?" "Bowen won't back out." He suddenly stood up and walked out, tossing back a sentence. "Let's go with this one. It's all the same anyway." What a baffling couple. After choosing the wedding dress, we were about to leave. Edgar went to the parking lot to get the car, and I waited for him outside the door. Soon, a pure black car pulled up in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing Bowen's face. He frowned slightly, tilting his head to look at me, as if weighing his words. "You are getting married." His tone and gaze revealed a hint of inexplicable familiarity, yet I had no memory of this person. Taking half a step back, I felt somewhat confused. Sir, do we know each other? Bowen let out a light scoff, stepped on the gas, and drove away. Even the female companion who came with him was forgotten. Patricia, when she stepped out in her high heels, the car was long gone. She dialed the phone unhappily, and it rang for several seconds before being answered. The other party spoke first, saying something unclear. Patricia's gaze swept over me casually, her voice somewhat sharp. Bowen, what do you mean, just leaving me here like this? Is it because of our fake marriage that you said you had something to do with the company? Are you angry? Just as Edgar's car pulled up, I walked over and opened the passenger door. There was no further sound behind me. Probably the other end of the line had remained silent, and Patricia hung up. Then I dialed another number. Edgar stepped on the gas, and the last thing I heard was her slightly softened voice. Come pick me up. Bowen had something urgent and left already. My phone vibrated slightly. I opened the message to see the group chat discussing the time and location for a gathering. They were all friends I've known since high school. Hearing that Edgar had woken up and been discharged from the hospital, they all clamored to have a meal together the next day. As soon as we entered the lobby, we ran into a few friends who had just arrived. After greeting each other warmly, we all got into the elevator together. I pressed the floor number, and just as the elevator doors were about to close, a slender hand reached in, causing the doors to reopen, revealing Bowen's face. Along with Patricia beside him, and a few others behind them, probably their friends, the elevator instantly became crowded. Edgar gently shielded me in his arms. While directly in front was Bowen's back facing me, their friends were chatting. Although it's not real, you two childhood sweethearts walking down the aisle in wedding attire together should leave no regrets. Our friends are also asking, have you set the wedding date yet? How did the wedding photos turn out? And for the honeymoon, it's best to pick a place where no one can disturb you. Edgar was about to answer when he suddenly heard a soft TSK. Bowen impatiently snapped, so noisy. The elevator fell silent instantly. With a ding, the door opened, a group of people hurried out, then glanced back at the motionless Bowen, whispering a reminder. Our floor is here. One floor up is the private room we reserved. When old friends gathered, the first thing they all cared about was Edgar's recovery. He chuckled softly. It's actually quite unbelievable. After lying down for so long, my body has no issues at all. Someone raised a glass and laughed. This is what they say, good fortune favors the blessed. After a few rounds of drinks, I went to the restroom with a female friend. On our way back, passing through the elevator lobby, someone blocked our path. My friend glanced up, recognized the person, and said warmly, handsome, did you get the wrong floor? Your private room is downstairs. Bowen does have a very recognizable appearance, but at the moment, he reeks of alcohol. He asked me in a deep voice. Did you just marry someone at random because you broke up with me? I frowned, somewhat displeased, and my friend couldn't help but express surprise. Break up with you? Are you drunk and mistaking me for someone else? Renee and our school heartthrob Lou have been together since high school graduation. It's been so many years, they're deeply in love and have never separated. Bowen let out a light laugh, shifting his gaze from my face to his friends, and told her word by word. Why don't you ask her how much she loved me when we were together before? He immediately fixed his gaze on me, his eyes sharp. Don't tell me again that you don't know me, Renee. Not only do we know each other, everyone knows we were together. Bowen dragged me toward the private room downstairs. My friend was horrified, cursed a few times in panic, and immediately went back to call for help. The elevator was slow. Bowen pulled me directly toward the stairs. We spiraled down a long corridor, and he pushed open the door to one of the private rooms. Inside, people were toasting and chatting animatedly. The sudden interruption brought an abrupt silence, and everyone turned to look at us intruders. His grip on my wrist was extremely tight. Bowen looked at me, emotionally agitated, and pointed at the group at the table as if deliberately asking, "Ah, so you don't know me? Then do you not know anyone here at all?" Before I could speak, someone at the table voiced their confusion first. "Bowen, who is she?" With that question, the outcome became clear. Not only do I not know them, but none of them know me either. Only Bowen, who was gripping my wrist tightly, looked at the bewildered expressions with near disbelief, his voice filled with anger. "What are you talking about? How could you not know her? She is Renee, the one who was with me for 2 years. Someone came over with a laugh to smooth things over. Bowen, are you drunk and confused? You've never even been in a relationship, and you've always liked." Others gathered around too, saying he definitely had a lot to drink that night and must have mistaken the person, suggesting they quickly ask the server for some sobering tea. Amid the chatter, Bowen suddenly burst out, "Have you all gone mad?" His eyes were wide with fury. Drunk and overwhelmed, he began to recount the romances in his memory, as if speaking to those around him, and yet also as if speaking to me. 2 years ago, I lost my memory and broke my leg. It was you who stayed by my side and helped me recover. The rehabilitation was painful, and I even smashed a teacup, the shards nearly cut your face. When the pain kept me awake at night, it was you who stayed with me through the long hours. You even went out of your way to learn massage techniques, and on my birthday, you spent so much time making a cake, only for me to accidentally ruin it. We promised that once my leg healed, we'd go see the aurora together. You said you'd stay with me forever. I didn't mistake the person, nor did I misremember. The one who was with me was you, Renee. One thing after another, incident after incident, I was completely unfamiliar with everything he mentioned. Unable to break free from his grasp, and unwilling to give any response, someone nearby muttered, "You went to get treatment for your leg yourself." But they thought he was drunk and didn't dare interrupt loudly, until the long-silent Patricia suddenly called out, "Bowen." She had found the key point. "You said you were together for 2 years, so now it's a breakup." I clearly felt Bowen jolt in surprise, almost at a loss as he looked at me, just at that moment. The private room door was pushed open with force. Edgar and other friends crowded in, making the entire space instantly cramped. I glanced at the stunned Bowen and told him again, "Sir, I really don't know you." Suddenly, my wrist was released. Edgar grabbed him by the collar and shoved him aside, quickly pulling me behind him. But in the blink of an eye, I saw Bowen turning pale, staring in my direction, pressing his palm hard against his head as if in extreme pain. His friend came over to apologize. "Sorry about that. He's had too much to drink and mistook you for someone else. This is the first time. It's never happened before," my friend angrily scolded. "I thought he was a handsome guy, but he turned out to be a creep." Edgar cast a cold glance at him while leading me out, then gently held my bruised wrist, examining it carefully with a pained expression, insisting we go to the hospital. Just as we stepped out, exclamations erupted behind us. "He's fainted. Hurry to the hospital." The hospital was quiet late at night. Edgar opened the ointment prescribed by the doctor and applied it gently and meticulously to my wrist. It emits a faint, plant-like fragrance. A clamor erupted in the hallway outside the emergency room. The doctor said it's nothing, just a headache caused by drinking too much. He was a bit off tonight. "Patricia, it's because of your fake marriage, isn't it? He's liked you for so many years. And now he finally gets to marry you. But it's all fake." Anyone would feel terrible about this. But it's really rare. We've known each other for so long, and this is the first time I've seen him drink like this, and never this crazy before. The conversation was intermittent, and there was never Patricia's voice. Nor did anyone mention my name. After applying medicine to my wrist, Edgar went to the bathroom to wash his hands. I sat where I was and waited for a while. Soon noticing a shadow fall over me, looking up, it turned out to be Patricia. She looked at me and said with certainty, "We've met at the wedding dress shop." I didn't speak, and a trace of unease inexplicably crept into her expression. "You really don't know Bowen. Should I know him?" Edgar came out of the restroom, and I stood up to leave with him. After just a few steps, I heard Patricia call out to me, "You know, he was just drunk tonight, not entirely himself." So what he said was all nonsense. It can't be taken seriously. A few days later, Bowen suddenly appeared at the school where I teach. It was just after school, and students were scattered around the school gate. After saying goodbye to my colleagues, I had just stepped outside when he stopped me. After a few days, he had visibly lost weight, but there was an added layer of confusion and absurdity in his eyes. I don't know what exactly happened. It seems like no one remembers we were ever together. He handed me a craft paper bag, speaking with conviction, but we were indeed together for 2 years. "Renee, all of these are photos we took together." The photos could also be fake, but his confident expression made it hard not to believe they were real. The evening breeze blew the hem of my skirt toward him, and I took half a step back. "Why should I look?" "You don't dare to look." He suddenly laughed, as if he had caught me in a trap. "Or is it because of what I said when we broke up? You're taking revenge on me, bribing everyone to pretend they don't remember." This was so absurd that I couldn't help but feel helpless. "I don't even know you. How could I have ever been with you? Then do you dare to open these photos and say again that you don't know me?" He suddenly raised his voice, staring straight into my eyes. The honking of cars mixed with the laughter of students, creating a chaotic noise. I don't understand why he suddenly appeared in my peaceful life, pestering me endlessly and causing such annoyance. Even the photo he handed to me, though my memory told me it had nothing to do with me, inexplicably stirred a vague, indescribable feeling, trust memory, or trust feeling. I took a deep breath, took the craft paper envelope from his hand, and slowly unwound the thin string wrapped around the button. Bowen pursed his lips, staring intently at my fingers. As I reached the final loop, a voice suddenly echoed in my mind. "All traces related to the host have been erased, archiving process data for the redemption mission." I paused, and the world seemed to fall silent for a second. Footsteps sounded, and a boy in a school uniform suddenly rushed out from behind, bumping into my shoulder. The leather bag flew out of my hand. Photos instantly scattered and fluttered down, spreading all over the ground. Various scenes, various angles, all without exception featured Bowen. Only his figure remained. When I left, Bowen was still standing there, almost grief-stricken and dazed as he looked at those photos. There he was during rehabilitation training, and there he was eating at a restaurant, watching movies, taking walks, throwing snowballs. Indeed, he was always alone, yet his gaze seemed forever fixed on another person. His eyes revealed a gentle smile, brimming with affection. Cars sped by on the roadside, and the photo was easily swept into the wheels, crushed, shredded. I recalled that voice claiming to be a system, learning that I had indeed completed tasks, and that it was related to Bowen, but the system said I had chosen to erase my memories, forgetting the tasks I had done and forgetting him as well. The system added, "This procedure is a one-way, irreversible operation. Once initiated, it will be permanently erased. Indeed, once a decision is made, there's no turning back. Since you chose to forget back then, you must have decided to let go." The phone vibrated slightly. Edgar sent a message, a photo of a dining table, featuring my favorite mushroom soup and spare ribs, and a message, "Honey, waiting for you to come home for dinner, Tilda. The system says the purpose of my mission is to save Edgar. 2 years ago, I helped a student who was being bullied by thugs and later faced retaliation. I was kidnapped just before my wedding. Outnumbered by the assailants, Edgar was struck in the head with a steel pipe while trying to save me. Bleeding profusely, he held on until the police arrived, collapsing the moment the sirens sounded. If not for that sudden accident, Edgar and I would have been married 2 years ago. The wedding preparations went very smoothly, an ocean backdrop, pearl decorations, and the shimmering moonlight on the waves. I was surrounded in the middle, wearing a soft and holy wedding dress. Cooperating with the video recording while recalling the lines I had prepared, a friend who had come from afar teased me with a smile. "I heard this is the most luxurious hotel in City A. The groom is really going all out. Not only is he wealthy, but also handsome. In his suit and tie, he looks so dignified and exceptionally dashing. Several couples are getting married here today." I took a stroll out of boredom, and judging by the welcome photos, only one groom can rival your husband. As she adjusted my bridal corsage, she pondered and commented, "But he had such a cold expression, while your husband's smile is so blissful and radiant." An old classmate chimed in, "Exactly, Edgar used to take the bus in the opposite direction after school every day just to run into Renee. From school uniforms to wedding dresses, he must be over the moon now." As the words faded, someone hurried over to ask everyone to take their seats, and the laughter and chatter drifted away with them. The dressing room fell quiet. I checked my makeup in the mirror and suddenly felt my left ear loosen. The pink diamond earring unexpectedly dropped off. My heart skipped a beat, and I instinctively bent down to pick it up. When I looked up again, I saw in the mirror someone who shouldn't have been there. Bowen stood there in a crisp suit, cold and dignified. The ribbon on the boutonniere was embroidered with "Groom." I was Bowen, knocked unconscious and taken away. When I woke up again, I was lying in a sea of tulips, with his suit jacket pillowed under my head. The earrings had already been put back on. Bowen didn't beat around the bush and got straight to the point. "You can't marry him." I stood up and straightened the hem of my wedding dress, tilting my face up slightly. "So you ruined the most important day of my life. The most important day of your life should have been spent with me." His breathing was unsteady as he struggled to contain his emotions. "If nothing had gone wrong that day, I would have proposed to you, and if all went well, we would have been married soon. Renee, the one you should have married was me." In the distance, tourists are taking photos and running around, carefree and joyful. I don't remember Bowen's past that he mentioned, nor do I want to know. I just feel exhausted, and I try to communicate with him in a softer tone. "Even if we were once together, I don't remember it now, and I'm about to get married. What's the point of stubbornly trying to prove it?" "What do you mean, what's the point?" His eyes were red with anger. "That was our 2 years. How could you just forget it like that?" I thought he was being unreasonable, but looking around, the sea of flowers stretched endlessly with nowhere to go, so I had no choice but to listen to him recount that relationship. Apart from his leg rehabilitation therapy, it wasn't really any different from an ordinary couple's life. We rode the Ferris wheel together, watched fireworks, went grocery shopping. Occasionally we would argue, but we always made up quickly. He was immersed in memories, meticulously describing every past scene as if he had relived them countless times alone. Without my phone nearby, I couldn't reach Edgar, and I gradually lost patience. When I heard Bowen say, "We promised to walk hand in hand until old age," I couldn't help but interrupt loudly. "The one I love is him. You said you loved me too. Then why did we break up?" This was the question he had been avoiding from the very beginning. I didn't understand why, so I looked at the suddenly frozen Bowen, and asked him again in a softer voice, since we've already broken up, why bring up the past? The phone rang abruptly. Bowen didn't answer, letting it ring until it stopped, then rang again, stopped, over and over. Finally, he took out his phone and glanced at it. The caller ID showed, Patricia, the next second. He directly smashed his phone away, fierce and resolute. He turned his head and said to me, because I don't want to break up anymore, because I want to take back those words about being strangers. He said he mistook years of habit and unwillingness to let go for love. When 20 years of memories suddenly resurfaced, they shattered our 2 years together and reawakened his obsession with Patricia. He thought the consciousness during his amnesia was incomplete. How could such feelings be valid? Upon learning that Patricia had broken up and returned to the country, he couldn't wait to end things and draw a clear line. Later, he began uncontrollably recalling scenes from our time together, the instinct to protect me during the car accident, and that line from a friend, "Just kidding, would you propose?" Such a meticulously arranged proposal setting must have been carefully planned and filled with anticipation. It wasn't until he saw me walking toward someone else in a wedding dress, truly having forgotten our relationship, that he suddenly understood, even if memories are incomplete, how could feelings be incomplete? He regretted it, Bowen said to me with bloodshot eyes, his voice strained. Renee, let's not break up, okay, it's okay if you don't remember. But since you fell in love with me once, you can definitely fall in love with me again. No, I cut him off without mercy, looking straight at him, because now I love him, so fully that there's no room left for anyone else. Words once spoken cannot be taken back. Bowen pursed his lips and tilted his face slightly toward the sky, watching the clouds drift by. I don't know how much time had passed before I finally heard him say, "I've felt it too, really," perhaps knowing there was no way out. Or because all hope had been completely shattered, he suddenly relaxed, turned his head to look at me, a gentle smile appearing in his eyes. "You look really beautiful in this wedding dress." That day at the wedding dress shop, I already had a feeling. As soon as the words were spoken, I heard a click sound, not far away. Someone was holding a camera, taking pictures of us. Seeing us turn to look, the person greeted us warmly and enthusiastically. "Wife," a familiar voice suddenly cut in. I turned around in surprise and saw Edgar running from a distance, shouting loudly, "Wife!" He came to me. The photographer froze. I immediately picked up the wedding dress and turned around, about to step away, when I heard a self-mocking whisper from behind, "At least we've worn wedding clothes together. I guess there are no regrets now." At the same moment, the system spoke. The redemption mission for the second male lead has been successfully completed. All process data has been archived. Beginning unbinding. Host, goodbye. A gentle breeze brushed against my face, as vast fields of tulips swayed in the wind. The soft shades of pink and white stretched all the way to the horizon, merging with the romantic hues of the setting sun. I am wearing my wedding dress, walking towards my beloved. The end. Story 2. Received a text message from a real estate agent in the middle of the night. MS, Adele, can you give me your boyfriend's contact information? My period hasn't come this month, and I'm a bit scared. I glanced at the message, then looked at my boyfriend sleeping like a log beside me, while replying, "You're already pregnant and still haven't gotten his contact info. You're so useless." I kicked my boyfriend off the bed with one foot. Woke up thirsty in the middle of the night and got up to drink water, only to see a message notification. I picked up my phone, wondering who would text me so late, only to find it was the real estate agent I'd been in frequent contact with lately. "Belen, MS, Adele, can you give me your boyfriend's contact info? My period hasn't come this month, and I'm a bit scared." The moment I read the message, I almost didn't grasp what it meant. I rubbed my eyes before realizing it was my boyfriend's mistress coming to provoke me. I glanced at Buck sleeping like a log beside me, feeling almost ready to tear him to pieces inside. "You're already pregnant and still haven't gotten his contact info. How pathetic." I gritted my teeth as I replied, then stretched out my leg and kicked Buck right off the bed, startled awake by a sudden kick in his sleep. Buck quickly scrambled up from the floor and asked nervously, "What's wrong? An earthquake?" "Baby, run." I just sneered at him coldly. "What's wrong, baby?" Noticing my expression, Buck realized it wasn't an earthquake but that I was angry. He sighed and climbed back onto the bed. "What happened? Did you have a nightmare? What unforgivable thing did I do in your dream this time?" He wanted to come over and hug me, but I pushed him away coldly and said, "Don't come near me. Stay right there. I have something to ask you." Buck didn't know what was happening and could only sit in the corner feeling somewhat wronged, not daring to speak. He looked wronged and pitiful. But it was this very man, who would act so pitifully in front of me and beg for comfort, who would betray me and find a mistress, To be honest, I had never imagined this before today. I took a deep breath, just about to ask him how he got involved with Belen. Just then, my phone rang again. It was a message from Belen, MS, Adele. I know you can't accept the fact that your boyfriend betrayed you, so you choose to belittle me like this, but I still advise you to face reality. Competing with words is useless. The man you can't hold on to, you still can't hold on to, and I don't mean any harm, I just want to let the child's father know of his existence. Are you so afraid of the child's father knowing about his existence because you know you don't have a competitive edge? I've lived for over 20 years. And this is the first time I've encountered someone so shameless. For a moment, I was so furious I couldn't even speak. I simply threw the phone directly in front of Buck and said, "Your baby's mother is looking for you. You got someone pregnant and didn't even bother to exchange contact information. And now you're making me pass messages for you." Buck thought I was just venting at him out of anger from my dream. But now he was completely dumbfounded by the sudden phone toss and my mention of the baby's mother. He let out an awkward laugh and said, "Adele, what are you talking about?" While simultaneously scrolling through the contents of my phone. The moment he saw the content, Buck widened his eyes and shouted, "This is slander. This is defamation. Who is this? I'm going to sue her. Could it be that she didn't get her period because of hormonal imbalance or some illness? How could she be pregnant? Wait, even if she is pregnant, what does that have to do with me? I don't even know this person." As he spoke, Buck looked up at me with a pitiful expression. "Adele, do you have another boyfriend?" At first hearing this, my immediate reaction was that this damn man was shifting the blame onto me for his own mistake. But then I thought again, Buck has been on a business trip with my dad for the past 2 months and just returned yesterday, so he really doesn't know Belen. Then why would Belen say she's pregnant with my boyfriend's child? Seeing me silent, Buck became even more aggrieved, putting on a dramatic show of tears, tantrums, and threats. "Do you really have another man outside? You heartless woman, I'm going to tell your parents. We're about to get married, and you're actually seeing someone else." With that, he really took out his phone and started looking for my mom's number. I quickly reached out and grabbed his hand. "Don't call. It's a matter of life and death." "No way, you've got another dog outside. I'm hurt. I have to tell your parents." Buck broke free from my grip, but didn't actually dial the number, just widened his big eyes and looked at me with a pitiful expression. I sighed. Something about this doesn't seem right. I took my phone and told Buck about Belen's situation. "Recently, because I'm preparing to get married and buy a new home, I've been visiting sales offices of major real estate developments in the city over the past 2 months, and Belen is the real estate agent who has assisted me the most. Our communication has always been quite pleasant, but recently, whenever I scheduled a property viewing, she would either decline by saying she had other arrangements or hand me over to another agent. Tonight, she suddenly sent this message, late at night. I didn't think much and just assumed she was referring to Buck. Thinking of this, I sent another message to Belen. "Did you make a mistake? Do you know who I am? Do you know who my boyfriend is?" Belen replied quickly, "Adele, MS, Adele, you don't actually hope I got the wrong person, do you?" "Of course I know who your boyfriend is. If you don't believe me, I'll show you a photo of us together, Mr. Buck said himself that I'm much more interesting than you." Right after, she sent a photo. In the photo, Belen is pressed tightly against a handsome man. The man is smiling brightly, holding Belen firmly in his arms. However, the man in the photo is not Buck, but we also know that person. It's Buck's cousin Dave. It was then that I remembered. During the first few times I went to view the house, Buck was away on a business trip and couldn't accompany me, so he had his cousin go with me instead. But since it was a new house after all, I was a bit picky. Dave accompanied me to view it twice and then got impatient, even saying in front of the staff that I was being too fussy, making such a hassle out of choosing a house and causing trouble for the staff. At the time, I didn't get angry out of respect for Buck, but I told Buck about it when I got home, and later Buck didn't let his cousin accompany me anymore. Little did I expect that in just those 2 times, he actually hooked up with Belen. On the phone, Belen sent a photo and withdrew it within 2 minutes. I didn't even have time to screenshot it. "I told you it wasn't me." After getting a clear look at the person in the photo, Buck spoke up excitedly. I rolled my eyes hard. "Right, it's not you, but it looks like she's about to become your cousin's wife." Buck frowned upon hearing this. "What cousin's wife? My cousin already has a wife." "Yeah, Dave got married a year ago. He has a wife. And yet he ended up in bed with Belen." I couldn't help but feel a bit disgusted. Just as I was about to call to give Dave a piece of my mind, Buck stopped me. "What? Are you planning to cover for your cousin?" I glared at Buck with a hostile look. Buck shook his head and said, "How could that be? It's just that if you confront him now, he probably won't admit it, and might even turn the tables and accuse you of trying to drive a wedge between us brothers." Hearing Buck say this, I felt he had a pretty clear understanding of his relative's character. So what do you suggest we do? Just pretend we don't know, I said, somewhat discouraged, unexpectedly. Buck grinned mischievously and said, how could that be? Now that the other woman has provoked you right to your face, it's only natural for you, as the rightful partner, to make some noise about it. Hearing this, my eyes lit up. Indeed. Belen sent me such a provocative message in the middle of the night. Isn't it normal for me to be upset? I ignored the continuous provocative messages from Belen, turned off my phone, and went straight to sleep. The next day, Buck went to work early. And I only got out of bed after sleeping in. After getting myself ready, I drove to the sales office where Belen was located. As soon as I entered the sales office, Belen spotted me. Seeing me arrive in a huff, a smug smile appeared on her face. Another salesperson, noticing my aggressive approach, came forward to ask what was wrong. Pointing at Belen, who was standing not far away with a triumphant smile, I said loudly, I'm about to get married. But your employee Belen has been seducing my boyfriend and is even pregnant with his child. She's destroying my marriage and family. Is your company just going to ignore this? My voice was so loud that many of the potential homebuyers in the sales office turned to look, following the direction of my finger. They saw Belen. It has to be said, those who dare to actively send messages to provoke the legal wife have unusually thick skin, facing the strange looks from everyone in the hall. She didn't even bat an eye, and the smile on her face never wavered. I saw Belen walking toward me with a smile still on her face. Honey, if your fiancé did something wrong, go solve the problem with your fiancé. Why bother causing trouble for me? You don't actually think that a man's infidelity is all the mistress's fault, do you? And you call yourself a woman. Have you ever considered that the real problem might be your fiancé? Her smile grew brighter and she moved closer to me. Her shameless behavior was starting to make me doubt myself. But luckily I'm not an idiot who can be easily swayed by a few words to redirect my anger. But clearly, some of the onlookers were being misled. Another young woman whispered softly, it's true, every time a man cheats, the wife comes to beat up the mistress, while the scumbag gets off scot-free. Instead of going home to deal with her own man, she comes to cause trouble for the other woman. What's the point? Belen's colleagues suddenly felt a bit more confident upon hearing this. Someone even laughed and advised me, Miss, if your fiancé really did something wrong, maybe you should go talk to him instead. We're all women, why make things hard for each other? In the end, it just shows you care too much about men. As more and more people chimed in with advice, my expression grew darker. I never imagined that, as the victim, I would be labeled as someone who loves men too much. Seeing more and more people agreeing with her, Belen became even more pleased with herself. She patted her stomach and gave me a provocative smile. Darling, I was the one who helped you see through that scumbag. Instead of thanking me, you come to cause trouble for me. You really don't know what's good for you. I could even clearly sense that she was deliberately provoking me, hoping I would react excessively. Clearly, Belen is very skilled at steering the conversation and shifting the focus. Watching her increasingly smug expression, I couldn't hold back any longer and stepped forward to slap her. A mistress is just a mistress. How dare you try to play the virtuous helper after being the other woman? Who taught you that? After I hit her, I clearly noticed that Belen's eyes were actually filled with triumph, yet her expression looked pained and wronged. She covered her slapped cheek, her voice choked with sobs. This world is just too harsh on women. It's clearly a mistake made by two people, yet you only come after me. Hearing her say this, she instantly became the perfect victim, with the property viewers and staff tightly shielding her behind them. I frowned slightly, suddenly realizing that this woman had been provoking me to confront my boyfriend all along. So her goal is to have me go make a scene with a man, so she can reap the benefits from the conflict, if it's a mistake made by two people. How do you know I haven't confronted my fiancé, but he doesn't even acknowledge your existence? Meanwhile, you're the one sending me provocative messages in the middle of the night. Shouldn't I come to you? I also put on a hurt expression, my eyes reddening. I pulled a girl beside me and showed her the provocative messages Belen sent me yesterday. Look, isn't this woman provoking me on purpose just to upset me? My boyfriend isn't even home, and when I called him, he completely denied it. So I had no choice but to confront this woman. If that's really the case, I'll definitely call off the engagement, I said, my voice choked with emotion. After the girl saw the text messages on my phone, her face instantly showed a look of disgust as she turned to Belen and said, instead of keeping a low profile after doing something wrong, you come out and provoke the original partner. Your behavior is truly disgusting. As she spoke, she loudly read out the message Belen had sent, MS. Adele, can you give me your boyfriend's contact information? My period hasn't come this month, and I'm a bit scared. With all this tea talk, if it were me, I couldn't stand this injustice either. The girl read out several messages in a row, and the onlookers around, especially those who had just been standing next to Belen, awkwardly moved a bit farther away from her. Belen didn't expect me to suddenly show weakness. Her expression changed slightly, but she still said with a pitiful tone, "I'm just doing this for the sake of the child in my belly. Besides, I'm helping you see your fiancé's true colors. Isn't that better than finding out he's a scumbag after you're married?" She actually had the audacity to act as if everything she did was for my own good. Hearing this, I almost laughed in anger. "Stop saying it's all for my own good. I am your client. After all, if you really cared about me, you wouldn't have ended up in bed with my fiancé. Besides, now he's saying you're slandering him and completely denies your existence. Why don't you explain yourself clearly?" Belen seemed surprised by my words and said, "Didn't you see the photos I sent? I didn't get a clear look. You withdrew them, didn't you? Since you claim you slept with my fiancé, show me the evidence. After all, you don't even have his contact information," I said disdainfully. Hearing my words, Belen seemed provoked by a competitive urge. She took out her phone and said, "Saying we don't have contact just means no phone number. We've been connected on WeChat for a while." As she spoke, Belen opened a WeChat chat window. The contact name displayed was Buck, and the profile picture matched Buck's WeChat avatar. I squinted slightly to get a clearer look. But Belen had already withdrawn her phone and initiated a WeChat call. Seeing this, I also took out my own phone, intending to try calling Buck. Could it really be that Buck had deceived me? But the next moment, Belen's WeChat call connected, and as the voice on the other end spoke, I knew it was indeed Dave. "Honey, your fiancé came to my company and made a scene. What should I do? I'm so scared." Belen spoke in a pitiful and frightened tone, but her eyes were full of defiance. Immediately after, Belen's phone speaker played Dave's voice, dripping with disdain. "What are you afraid of? It's not like she's going to eat you. But she said you don't even acknowledge our relationship. You didn't just sleep with her and then dump her, did you?" Belen's voice grew increasingly sugary, giving me goosebumps. She didn't even care about the increasingly disgusted looks from the people around her, only feeling excited to see my reaction. Opposite, Dave laughed and said, "How could that be? If it weren't for Adele showing up earlier and being accepted by my family, I would have broken up with her long ago. Let her make a scene if she wants. If it comes to it, you can quit your job and I'll take care of you." Dave spoke loudly, and everyone present heard him. Belen even raised an eyebrow at me smugly. Everyone present looked at me with sympathetic eyes. The young woman who had just read the chat records, seeing my grief-stricken expression, immediately stepped forward to support me and tried to comfort me. I also put on an expression of disbelief and tried to snatch Belen's phone. Seeing this, Belen took a step back and continued into the phone. "Then what if your fiancé comes looking for you? Let her come find me. I'm just afraid she won't dare. After all, marrying into our family is her good fortune." Hearing this, I really couldn't hold back anymore. Even Buck wouldn't dare say something like that. Where did Dave get the nerve to say that marrying into the Jiang family is my good fortune? Just as I was about to open my mouth and question him, Belen had already hung up the phone with satisfaction. She said to me in a mocking and pitiful tone, "Ms. Adele, it seems you don't have the courage to confront your fiancé at all. What you just said was nothing but lies. Women must learn to love themselves. If you only rely on men, one day they will prove unreliable. I'm teaching you a lesson here. Men are not to be depended on. It's meaningless to keep directing all the conflict at me. It's 2025 already. Why haven't you learned yet? In the case of infidelity, it's not just the other woman who's at fault. More often, it's your own husband. Clearly, you can't keep a grip on your fiancé. Isn't it time to recognize him for the scumbag he is and stay away from him?" Her well-rehearsed arguments actually convinced quite a few people in the room again. I even saw someone recording a video. The person recording the video was even saying, "This is what a clear-headed, strong female lead sounds like. Folks, look at how impressive this salesperson is, emotionally stable and logically sharp." I was so angry I laughed. Now even a mistress can be whitewashed into a strong female lead. Have you all lost your minds? Getting involved with someone who's already in a relationship is morally corrupt. No matter the reason, wrong is wrong. You can't just say it's mostly the scumbag's fault and then perfectly disappear from the blame. Don't act like you're some savior rescuing me from a desperate situation here. I don't need you to save me, lady. After saying that, I dialed the complaint hotline of this real estate company. Since Buck said he wants you to quit and support you, I suppose you don't care about losing your job. Belen really didn't care, even raising her hand to let me complain as I pleased, in front of everyone. I filed a complaint against Belen, then dialed Buck's parents' phone number. On the phone, I once again forced a tearful tone and said, "Auntie, Buck is seeing another woman outside. I'm not going through with this wedding. You should find another bride. After saying this, I hung up the phone. Belen actually nodded with great satisfaction at this. Now that's a modern woman for you, Ms. Adele. In the future, keep your eyes open when choosing a man, and next time something like this happens, don't take it out on the other woman. It's clearly the scumbag's fault, isn't it? She actually had the nerve to lecture me with that condescending tone, making me so angry I wanted to slap her again. But the young lady from earlier stopped me, whispering a reminder. You already slapped her once just now. If you hit her again, be careful, she might call the police. I took a deep breath, forcibly suppressing the urge to act out, and said to Belen, don't act like you're some independent, strong female lead. Would a truly independent, strong female lead go after a man who's already taken? Would a truly independent, strong female lead need a man to support her? I'd like to see if Buck will actually support you. After saying that, I turned around, thanked the young lady from earlier, and left. The call I just made to Buck's mom got a quick response. Buck's call came not long after. Did something upset you today, baby? My mom was terrified when she heard you wanted to call off the engagement and just called to scold me. Right at that moment, I was in the mood to vent my anger, so I told Buck all about Belen's behavior earlier. It seems Dave really got involved with Belen in your name. What is he trying to do? He even made me sound worthless. Buck scoffed on the other end. The one truly worthless is him. That's why he needs to belittle others to feel a sense of existence. Thinking about the Dave I know, he really is a good-for-nothing second-generation heir. Over the years, the Jiang family's business has grown bigger and bigger. Buck's parents would also lend a hand to their own people, giving Dave plenty of resources, but every time, he manages to mess things up. They've recently started withholding resources and projects from Dave, so I raised an eyebrow and said to Buck on the other end of the phone, babe, I want to stir things up a bit. Hearing this, Buck wasn't surprised at all. Didn't you call my mom just to stir things up? Go ahead, as long as it makes you feel better. With Buck's approval, I had no qualms about taking screenshots of last night's chat with Belen and what Dave said on the phone today, and posting them in the group chat as if Buck had said them. Buck did such a thing. I won't forgive him. Since he thinks I'm reaching above my station by marrying into your Jiang family, then I won't reach anymore. I'm calling off this wedding. The once quiet family group chat instantly became lively. Buck's parents anxiously said, Adele, is there some misunderstanding here? We just called Buck, and he said he doesn't know this woman at all. Other relatives also stepped in, saying Buck isn't that kind of person. There must be some misunderstanding, and urged me not to act impulsively. Only when more and more people chimed in did I finally reply, Uncle, Auntie, I wanted to believe Buck too, but that saleswoman called him right in front of me. He admitted with his own words that I was just someone who showed up early and happened to win your approval. Since he likes such a shameless woman, it shows that he and I are not on the same path. It's better for us to part ways. My words silenced the group for a moment. No one dared to speak. Buck probably wanted to see me perform and didn't rush to appear. Instead, Dave jumped in. Bro, this is your fault. You already have a wife. Why aren't you satisfied? That woman is a real estate agent, right? Those women will do anything to sell a house. If she can seduce you, she can seduce anyone. You really messed up this time. What a shame. Adele is such a great sister-in-law. You should just admit your mistake properly. Dave seems to be speaking up for me with every word, but in reality, he's helping Buck admit guilt with each sentence, while also provoking me to break up with Buck. Buck also saw Dave's comments. He replied in the group chat, I really don't know that woman. How could I ever betray Adele? Adele, I really am innocent. Seeing Buck's reply, I immediately responded, she's already pregnant with your child, and you still say you're innocent. It's fake, it's slander. I've never even met her. How could she possibly be pregnant with my child? Buck said righteously. I continued to reply, stop playing dumb. It's not like she got pregnant all by herself. No matter how Buck tried to explain, I refused to believe him. Leaving his parents both anxious and helpless, they believed that Buck wouldn't do such a thing. But the evidence against him was solid, and I was clearly furious at the time, so there was nothing they could do. Seeing that he couldn't clear things up in the group chat, Buck spoke up directly. If that woman is really pregnant with my child, then there are only two possibilities. Now I was a bit curious to hear what Buck would say next. The next second, Buck said in the group chat, either she obtained my sperm through illegal means, or she did something to me that I don't remember. I think I need to call the police. When I saw Buck's words, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. This guy really dares to say anything. Dave seemed a bit anxious when he saw Buck say this. Bro, calling the police isn't appropriate for this kind of thing, right? If something really comes out of the investigation, it could affect the company. But Buck's parents were very supportive of Buck. When they heard Buck say this, they were convinced that Buck must not have done anything wrong. So I chimed in the group chat, yes, Call the police. How could a mere real estate agent do such a thing? Who knows what kind of shady business might be behind this? Seeing this, the other relatives felt reassured and all stepped forward to support Buck in calling the police. Dave tried to persuade them a few times at first, but after realizing no one was paying attention to him, he seemed to give up. At that moment, Buck sent me a private message. "Baby, how was my impromptu performance?" I gave him a thumbs up. "By the way, your cousin is acting strange. Why is he so insistent on making you take the blame? Doesn't he feel guilty at all? I also find it odd. It feels like he doesn't want us to get married. But it's okay, whatever he's trying to do, the police will figure it out." I was a bit surprised. "You're really planning to call the police? I thought you were just trying to scare your cousin. My reputation was damaged, and I almost lost my wife. Isn't it justified for me to call the police?" Buck said righteously. At that moment, Buck's cousin also sent me a private message. "Adele, is this the woman you mentioned in the group chat? She's giving a live-streamed lecture and using you as a case study." Clicking on the live stream link sent by the cousin, it was indeed Belen Broadcasting. By then, she had changed out of her professional attire and was wearing a figure-flattering dress. On the left side of the live stream, the video of me going to the sales office this morning to find Belen is playing on loop. Belen also explained in a mocking tone, "Sisters, you must pay attention in the future. Improving yourself is the most important thing. This MS, Adele is the lowest class of woman, her taste in men is poor, and when the man cheats, she doesn't dare confront him, only taking her anger out on me. Another woman, when both are at fault, why single out a fellow woman? This world is still too lenient toward men. If this MS, Adele were smarter, she should either let go and walk away gracefully after discovering the man's infidelity, or quietly improve herself to win him back. Her behavior of only venting her anger on other women is simply shrewish, and everyone should definitely not follow her example." Belen's outrageous remarks made the live stream audience forget that she was the other woman who destroyed someone else's family. The comments in the live stream were all praising Belen as a clear-headed leading lady. I was so angry I laughed. I shared the live stream with Buck again. "Your girlfriend has become a teaching tool now," Buck replied after watching the live stream. "Baby, doesn't this live stream background look like my villa in the eastern suburbs?" I took a closer look and it really did. "Wasn't that villa too remote? And you were planning to sell it? How is Belen there? You'll have to ask Dave about that." I handed the villa over to him to handle. "Looks like he's using it to hide his mistress." Then he sent another mischievous grin emoji. "Baby, I just noticed on this woman's profile that she'll be live streaming again tomorrow morning. Time to watch your man perform." I replied with a mischievous grin emoji too, and got ready to watch Buck's performance the next day. Buck got up early and didn't go to the office, telling me to just stay home and watch the live stream. I raised an eyebrow at his deliberately disheveled getup and couldn't help but find it a bit amusing. After Buck left, I opened Belen's live stream from yesterday. She was very punctual, starting the stream right on time. Today, she was still playing my video from yesterday. She's using me as a traffic magnet, but to be able to watch Buck's performance in the stream, I held back the urge to complain. In the live stream, Belen continued to lecture her fans in a condescending tone. In fact, a woman's fate is something she fights for herself. Whether it's climbing up by relying on a man or by her own abilities, it's all her own skill. Sisters, don't underestimate yourselves. If you want to become a strong female lead like me, you can join my fan group, and you can also sign up for my private coaching sessions. I didn't expect her to be selling courses, so I simply joined her fan group. Sure enough, there was an admin inside selling courses. I added the admin and expressed my interest in buying one. Management gave me a list with the prices of various courses, including how to determine if a man is a high-quality male, how to attract the attention of high-quality men, and how to interact with high-quality men. Judging from the course titles, the content is so detailed it's jaw-dropping. Management kept pushing the sales pitch. "Miss, you should take a look. The price might be a bit high, but it's really useful. See, our host used these methods to win over the fiancée of MS, Adele. As long as you study hard, won't you have plenty of good men to choose from in the future?" Just as I was about to curse at this moderator, a voice came from the live stream. "Buck, is it you who slandered me, claiming to be pregnant with my child, and even persuaded my girlfriend to break up with me?" Hearing this voice, I quickly switched the screen to the live stream, only to see Belen looking up in confusion and asking, "Who are you? You don't even know who I am, yet you dare to claim you're pregnant with my child." Buck's mocking voice rang out. "Who is pregnant with your child? Don't talk nonsense." Belen looked awkward for a moment, then turned her gaze knowingly toward the outside of the video and said, "You must be an actor hired by MS, Adele to cause trouble in my live stream, aren't you? How did you get in? Do you know this is trespassing?" She yelled at Buck. The livestream didn't show Buck's figure, but his amused and angry voice could be clearly heard. So you do know what trespassing is. This is my house. You being in my house is trespassing. Me being in my own house is called coming home. Just you wait. I've already called the police. You're spreading rumors about being pregnant with my child. And now I suspect you either obtained my sperm through illegal means or drugged me and made me lose a period of memory. These are all illegal acts, and also trespassing, as well as violating my girlfriend's right to her own image. The police will make it clear to you. As Buck listed the charges one by one, the live stream audience was stunned. What's going on? Who is this man? Belen illegally obtained someone's sperm. That's so shocking. So whose child is it in Belen's belly? Belen, seeing the increasing doubts in the live stream, she said to someone off camera, "The child in my belly is Buck's, and this house was also given to me by Buck to live in. Who are you anyway? Why are you here to cause trouble?" "I am Buck. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to clarify, you keep saying you're pregnant with my child, but how did that happen? Why are you trying to ruin the relationship between me and my girlfriend? Why are you in my villa? You have to explain yourself clearly today." Buck, as soon as he finished speaking, the sound of more people entering the room could be heard in the live stream. The next second, police officers appeared in the broadcast and demanded that Belen come with them. In the live stream, Belen looked utterly shocked and kept saying, "Officer, there must be some misunderstanding. I don't know this person. He just showed up at my place out of nowhere. This is Mr. Buck's house. So it's perfectly normal for him to be here. He's now accusing you of trespassing." And just like that, Belen was publicly escorted away from the live stream. It frightened a group of fans and amused a crowd of onlookers who were there for the drama. Buck also sent me a look for praise emoji at this moment and asked, "So, was it exciting?" I gave him another like. "What's the situation now? We're heading to the police station now, waiting for this woman to confess everything." "You rest at home and wait for updates," Buck replied. Only then did I feel reassured and lay back down to rest. It was at this moment that someone recorded what had just happened in the live stream and submitted it to some marketing accounts. The news of the live streamer being taken away on the spot by the police gained a lot of attention. So without Belen's knowledge, she truly went viral. At this point, Belen's outrageous remarks were dug up, shocking countless netizens. "Is this how mistresses whitewash themselves nowadays?" She says it's a mistake made by two people, but then she tells the victim to only confront the man, while she herself enjoys the benefits. She's using this to build her image as a strong, independent woman, who actually admires this kind of strong woman. The girl in the surveillance video is so pitiful. Not only was she betrayed by her boyfriend, but this woman is also using it to mock her and sell her courses. To the comment above, it seems the girl's boyfriend didn't actually betray her. I heard it was the girl's boyfriend who called the police and had the streamer taken away. Why am I so confused about this drama? Wasn't it about a scumbag and a mistress? Now there's no scumbag anymore. Then whose child did the mistress get pregnant with? For a while, Belen's drama became a hot topic online, with many people eagerly awaiting the outcome, of course, as someone directly involved. I'm also very much looking forward to it, but Buck, who I thought would return soon, still hasn't come back. I got a bit worried and drove to the police station where he filed the report, only to find Buck's parents, Dave, and Dave's parents were also there. When they saw me arrive, Buck's parents somewhat awkwardly pulled me aside to sit down, apologizing to me as they spoke. "Adele, this time our family has dragged you into this. It's just that Buck is also innocent. He hasn't done anything to wrong you, so please don't break up with him," the elderly couple kept explaining, and I actually started to feel a bit guilty. "Uncle, auntie, I understand. Don't worry, we won't break up." I could only softly reassure the two of them. On the other side, Buck said with a livid face to his uncle and aunt, "He is slandering and spreading rumors about me, trying to ruin my marriage and destroy my lifelong happiness. I will not write a letter of forgiveness." And his uncle and aunt were precisely Dave's parents. The two of them looked anxiously at the unyielding Buck, then turned their gaze to Buck's parents. "Big brother, sister-in-law, please persuade Buck. After all, the reason Dave did something wrong was because of what you said back then. If it weren't for what you said back then, Dave wouldn't have gone down the wrong path. You have to take responsibility for Dave," Dave's father said, slapping his thigh. Buck's parents looked very upset upon hearing this. His father opened his mouth to say something but ended up saying nothing. Instead, Buck stepped in front of his parents and said coldly, "Uncle, aunt, please don't bother my parents anymore. No one can talk me out of this. Dave did something wrong and has to take responsibility. He'll only be detained for a few days anyway. There's no need for you to shield him like this." But Dave's mother wiped her tears and shook her head. "But this will leave a criminal record for Dave. How can he have a record? It will affect his future children." Buck just sneered in response. That's the consequence of his own actions. I won't agree to mediation. Instead of making a scene here, you should focus on teaching your precious son a lesson. It was at this moment Dave came out of another mediation room, and with him was Belen. Dave looked livid. When he saw me and Buck, his eyes were filled with venom. Buck, are you happy now? Does it feel good to see me get caught? Just moderately happy. If you hadn't done anything wrong, you wouldn't have been caught, Buck said coldly. This completely enraged Dave. Do you look down on me? I hate this about you the most. Weren't you just a good-for-nothing rich kid back in the day? How come you turned your life around just to chase after some woman? Now everyone in the family praises you, even though back then your parents said you were useless and that the family company would eventually be handed over to me. Since you were useless, why didn't you just stay useless your whole life? Why did you have to change for the better just to chase after Adele? Why give me hope only to let me down? I'm going to make you lose everything and send you right back into the mud. Dave shouted emotionally, and the police nearby quickly stepped forward to restrain him, preparing to take him elsewhere. Dave's parents, heartbroken, tried to intervene but were stopped by the police. In the end, Dave cursed Buck and Buck's parents as he was forcibly taken away by the police. Belen was not detained due to her pregnancy, but she still faced punishment. The police also demanded that she publicly apologize to me. She also glared at me with venom in her eyes. How could a woman like you land a good man? Do you think just because I mistook someone this time, your boyfriend is without his own issues? Let me tell you, a woman who only relies on men like you will be abandoned one day. I was utterly shocked by her words and was about to retort when I saw her change her expression and look at Buck. Handsome, the child in my belly should have been yours, back when Adele came to me to buy a house. I thought, how could a woman like her be worthy of such a wealthy husband? I originally intended to seduce you, but I never expected the one who came with her was actually your cousin. Your cousin deceived me, so you have to take responsibility for him, Belen said seductively as she moved closer to Buck. Buck took a big step back. Don't you dare touch me. You've never even met me, yet you're spreading rumors that you're pregnant with my child. If you touch me now, who knows what you'll claim next? Belen's expression stiffened at the sight. So you care that much about your girlfriend? Aren't you worried she might betray you? Your girlfriend went house hunting with Dave. Doesn't that make you suspect something is going on between them? Hearing this, I couldn't help but want to step forward and slap her. It's as if she'd die if she didn't spread rumors. Her mouth just can't stop making up lies all day. But I didn't need to do anything. As the police stepped in, Belen, if you continue to spread rumors, although you won't be detained during your pregnancy, other penalties will still follow. Belen had no choice but to shut up upon hearing this. I was still a bit dazed even after leaving the police station. Although I knew Dave had pretended to be Buck and deceived Belen, I couldn't understand why he was arrested. When I got home, I couldn't help but ask Buck. Buck sighed before telling me the reason behind it all. It turned out that Buck had also been rebellious in his youth. He didn't study properly and was always getting into fights. His parents couldn't control him and almost sent him to a military school. Back then, Buck's parents were so worn out from trying to discipline Buck that they once said in front of everyone, if Buck continued to be so idle and reckless, they would give all the family property to Dave. This statement Dave's whole family took to heart, especially Dave, who almost believed that Buck's family's company would eventually be his. As it turned out, during Buck's high school years, he met me. He fell in love with me at first sight, but felt that because I came from a well-off family, had excellent grades, and was too outstanding, he didn't dare confess his feelings directly. In order to keep up with me, he gave up all his bad habits and focused on studying hard. He got into the same university as me, and after completely transforming himself, he appeared before me with a brand new look and pursued me. This change made Buck's parents extremely happy, so they've always liked me. The moment he saw the content, Buck widened his eyes and shouted, "This is slander. This is defamation. Who is this? I'm going to sue her." Ting Yuan resented me even more for making Buck change, which is why he has always treated me poorly. This time, under Buck's arrangement to accompany me in buying a house, he met Belen, coincidentally. Belen mistook him for my boyfriend, so he simply went along with it, letting Belen think she had stolen my fiancé. He deliberately guided and instigated Belen to provoke me, using me as a topic to attack me, all to make me break off the engagement with Buck, because he believed that as long as I broke up with Buck, Buck would revert to his former playboy self. This way, he could regain the opportunity to inherit the Buck family company. As for Belen, her original intention was never just to ruin someone else's family. She wanted to use the incident between Buck and me as a case study to attract more attention, build her strong female lead persona, and gain more followers to sell courses. And her course selling content was also deemed to violate public order and good morals, resulting in penalties. It can be said that the two were using each other. But in the end, both suffered the consequences. After hearing Buck tell all this, I couldn't help but sigh with relief. Thankfully, I'm not the kind of woman who relies solely on men, as Belen described, or I might have been led astray by Belen. After all, I'm the little girl who benefits from the comfortable conditions my parents created. 2 days later, Belen, though extremely reluctant, was urged by me and the lawyer to post an apology statement addressed to me on her social media account. However, the statement was only posted for a day before it disappeared, as his account was banned by the platform for violating public order and morals, and her fans began to demand their rights, with reports that she would be sued for fraud if she didn't refund the money. Belen didn't have a high income to begin with, and she hadn't made much money from Dave before, so now she's lost everything. The path of selling courses through self-media is no longer viable, and she's also quit her job. It seems her days ahead are bound to be tough, but that has nothing to do with me anymore. On the other hand, Dave's household was also in turmoil. After learning the news that Dave had cheated, and even impersonated his cousin to do so, his wife immediately filed for divorce and aborted the 3-month-old fetus she was carrying. Dave's parents were heartbroken and wept bitterly when they found out, but by then the child had already been aborted. But the woman paid no attention to either of them, packed her bags, returned to her parents' home, and notified Dave that she would divorce him as soon as he was released from detention. The once happy family was just destroyed like that. When Buck's parents told him the news, Buck just sneered, "Serves him right. I worked so hard to win my wife, and he tried to take her away from me. He should be thankful the law is so robust that I didn't take his life." He was full of a thuggish aura, really giving off the vibe of a former spoiled rich kid.